Good evening. We're ready to begin. This Planning Commission meeting is called to order. This meeting has been properly noticed and posted in compliance with the open meeting law. These proceedings are being video recorded as well as presented live on KCLV, Cable Channel 2. You can also watch this meeting live on Apple TV, Roku, Amazon, Fire TV, on the Go Vegas app. The Planning Commission meeting, as well as all other KCLV programming, can be viewed on the internet at www.kclv.tv/live. The proceedings will be rebroadcast on KCLV and the web the Saturday after the meeting at 10 a.m., Monday at midnight. That's a good one to stay up for. And the following Tuesday at 6 p.m., please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Can we get the roll call, please?
Chair Cherry.
Present.
Vice Chair Williams.
Present.
Commissioner Schlottman.
Present.
Commissioner Rogan.
Present.
Commissioner Walsh.
Present.
Commissioner Kasama.
Present.
Commissioner Taylor.
Present.
Thank you, Chair. You have quorum.
Thank you. Call your attention to the information printed in your agenda concerning our actions and the appeal and review process, if appropriate. There are some agendas sitting on the podium right there if anyone needs to grab one. Please read this carefully, and if you have any questions, staff is available. Also, the second page of the agenda contains our rules of conduct. We appreciate you adhering to these rules so we can have a smooth meeting. Moving on to item 4, all comments made under this item for specific actions will be cross-referenced to those items. Are there any members of the public who wish to speak under this portion of the agenda? Seeing no one, I'll move on to item number 5. Oh, do we? No, okay. Item number 5, Vice Chair, can we get a motion for the Planning Commission meeting minutes, please?
Yes, sir. Okay, there is a motion to approve the minutes of the January 9th, 2024 Planning Commission meeting.
Thank you. Motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. That motion carries. Moving on to our housekeeping items. Are there any items that commissioners, staff, applicants, or member of the public would like to pull forward for action?
Mr. Chairman, staff has some housekeeping items. This is Nicole Edos for the record. The applicant is requesting to hold agenda item number 17, project number 23-0595 to the March 12th Planning Commission meeting. This is the second request. And the applicant is requesting to hold agenda item number 27, project number 23-0653 to the March 12th Planning Commission meeting, and this is the applicant's first request. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Vice Chair, can we get a motion on the housekeeping items?
Yes, motion on item 23-0595 A through D. Motion to obey to the March 12th, 2024 PC meeting, and item 23-0653 A through B. Motion also to obey to the March 12th, 2024 PC meeting.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries. Moving on to the consent items. Consent items are considered routine by the Planning Commission and may be enacted by one motion. However, any item may be discussed if a commission member or applicant so desires. Vice Chair, can we get a motion on the consent agenda, please?
I'd like to make a motion on the consent items. Motion for approval.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And that item is final action tonight and was appealed to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you. Moving on to the one motion, one vote portion of the agenda. The following are items that may be considered in one motion, one vote. They're considered routine, non-public, and public hearing items with staff recommendation of approval. All public hearings and non-public hearings will be open at the same time. Any person representing an application or a member of the public or a member of the Planning Commission not in agreement with the conditions and all standard conditions for the application recommended by staff should request to have that item removed from this part of the agenda. Item number 8, 230249, applicant Gigapower LLC, owner South Shores LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project requests at 8544 Westlake Mead Boulevard, Ward 4. Staff recommends approval. Item number 8A, 230249 SUP 1 for proposed utility installation other than listed use. 8B, 230249 SDR 1 for a major amendment to plot plan review 0Z00038-893 for the proposed addition of a fiber distribution hub to an existing shopping center development. Item number 9, 230582, applicant Gigapower LLC, owner Canyon Lakes, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project at 9080 West Sahara Avenue, Ward 2. Staff recommends approval. Related items 9A, 230582 SUP 1 for proposed utility installation other than listed use. 9B, 230582 SDR 1 for major amendment to plot plan review for the proposed addition of a fiber distribution hub within an existing shopping center development. Item number 10, 230594 VAC 1, applicant owner Century Communities Nevada LLC, for possible action on land use entitlement project request for petition to vacate public drainage easements generally located at the southwest corner of Iron Mountain Road in Sheep Mountain Parkway, Ward 6. Staff recommends approval. Item number 11, 230623 SUP 1, applicant United Coin Machine Co., owner RZMZ Family LLC, for possible action on the land use entitlement project for proposed gaming establishment restricted use 1 to 5 machines at 1801 East Charleston Boulevard, Ward 3. Staff recommends approval. Item number 12 is being pulled off and will be heard in the public portion of the agenda. Item number 13, 230625, applicant Inclusive Hospitality LLC, owner 1021 Main Street LLC, for possible action land use entitlement project request located at 1021 South Main Street, Suite 150, Ward 3. Staff recommends approval. Related items 13A, 230625 SUP for proposed 3,230 square foot alcohol on premise full use with 1,321 square feet outdoor patio. 13B, 230625 SUP 2 for proposed gaming establishment restricted use 1 to 5 machines. And finally, number 14, 230656 SUP, applicant United Coin Machine, owner Elkhorn Wallapai LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for proposed gaming, incidental gaming machine only use at 7161 North Wallapai, Suite 110. Staff recommends approval. I will disclose on item number 13 that I have property within the notification area. It does not affect me any greater or lesser. I will be voting on the item. Commissioner Schlotman?
Yes, Chairman, on item number 13, I'm under contract with the applicant on that particular project, so I'll be abstaining on that matter.
Great. This was no.
I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, we have a revised condition to read for number 1023-0594 VAC1. Condition number 2 has been revised to read, this order of vacation shall record immediately prior to and concurrent with any of the Phase 2 or Phase 4 final maps related to the tentative map for Sky Canyon 5.06 22-0412 TMP1. The Phase 1 buffer improvements must be completed and a drainage study update approved prior to the order of vacation recording. Final maps associated with Sky Canyon 5.06 must correctly show public drainage easements as they exist at the time of recordation. No building permits will be allowed for lots 213 through 220 or any other lots within Sky Canyon 5.06 that are in conflict with any public drainage easements. Thank you.
Thank you for the updated condition on item number 10. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard on the one motion, one vote? Seeing no one, I will close that and go to Vice Chair Williams for a motion.
I'd like to make a motion for approval on the one motion, one vote
The 12 is being pulled off.
excluding item 12.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, items 8, 9, 10, 11, and 13 are final action tonight unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days. And item number 14 will move on to city council on March 20th.
Thank you. We're moving on to the public hearing items. I'm going to pull a couple items, or a item out of order. We're going to go to item number 30. This is 230664 SDR1, applicant owner, City of Las Vegas, for possible action on a land use entitlement project for a major amendment to approved site development plan review, SDR 47296, for a proposed two-story tall, 9,500 square foot addition to an existing 24,245 square foot charter primary school development with the waivers of the Appendix F intern development Las Vegas Area 2 development standards at 320 South 9th Street, Ward 3. Staff recommends approval. Can we get the staff report, please? I think that's, it's going to be presented. Oh,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Corey Story, Senior Planner for the record. While a waiver is requested to allow no additional on-site parking, staff finds there is adequate street parking and shared parking lots in the surrounding area. The proposed school expansion adheres to the overall intent of the Vision 2045 Downtown Master Plan, therefore staff recommends approval. Please note additional letters of support were received since publication. Thank you.
thank you very much. And I will quickly disclose that I do own property within the notification area. It doesn't affect me any greater or lesser, and I will be voting on the application tonight. And can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Good afternoon, Chairman Cherry, Rosa Cortez, City Engineer and Deputy Director of Public Works. Good afternoon, Commissioners. We're here to present the site development plan review and the waiver for no parking for the expansion at Strong Start Academy at 9th and Bridger.
Sean Miller, Architectural Project Manager with City of Las Vegas.
And I am Carson Nolan with Simpson Coulter Studio, the project architect.
Our architect will be presenting the site plan and discussing the project, and then we'll be here to answer any follow-up questions.
Great, thank you.
Okay. All right. I've got some. Okay. So as you let's see. So as you can see on the site plan, that was also included within the staff report here. This is a previously developed site. There are currently 3 buildings on site. On the front is the church that was constructed around 1946 in the early 2000s. This second building was built. These 2 are currently housing the functions for the Strong Start Academy School. On the back corner here, there is an existing residence that's been converted for temporary classrooms. We are proposing to remove this existing residence that's there and then provide some adequate facilities for the students there. So we're looking to add 9 classrooms, but this building is still going to have the smallest footprint on site. As I mentioned, this is a previously developed site in downtown, so we're working with a lot of constraints, which is what helped us come up with this current site location. As you can see here, we are planning on shifting the proposed building footprint back from what's there existing, which is built on the property line. So we're doing what we can to conform with the latest city requirements. And then the existing parking lot here is going to remain. And then we are also proposing to enclose the entire campus for security purposes. And then there's also going to be a fence inside the parking lot to make sure that the students don't wander into the staff parking area. Let's see here. As you can see in the staff report as well, we tried to use some of the language of the existing site to develop the elevations as well as the size and proportion of the proposed building. So we've got a couple of renderings here showing some of the fencing that we're proposing as well as the new building there.
Great. Thank you, Carson. Appreciate the presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to the commission. Go to Commissioner Schlotman.
Thank you, Chair. So I know this project really well. This was old Ninth Bridge School, now the city charter school. My office is just a few blocks from here. I pass it all the time. And, you know, I'm in support of the school and what you're looking at doing, but I have had a call from one of the neighbors who was concerned about traffic and queuing, and you know, when did the school originally, when did the city originally open the school?
I believe it was 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years
Okay.
ago. Yeah, they acquired the property from Tony Shea.
Okay, and
But this, excuse me, sorry, Commissioner, the actual school opened, I think it's been 1 year.
Oh, okay.
Right.
okay, so I think they may have had a little bit of an issue when it first opened, and I think there's been some modifications that were made this past January, because they did, Sean Parker, who lives in the neighborhood, expressed that it seems like staff was coming out during drop-off and pick-up at the end of the day. I think they have 3 staff members that go out, which is helping regulate and push traffic from one direction to another. And before that, he said it was kind of a free-for-all. So that's definitely helped. Another concern that a lot of the neighbors around there had was illegal U-turns in a school zone, which isn't allowed. Well, I reached out to Mr. Bolanos before the meeting and Mr. Pyatt and asked them about the traffic, and I think we would like to see some sort of review. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the traffic mitigation practices and procedures? How often you would go out and take a look at a particular school after it's opened?
Yes, through the chair, Victor Bolaños, Public Works. We do have a condition imposed that there shall be traffic impact analysis performed and before any permits are issued, and it must be approved by the city traffic engineer. Alongside of that, we're also asking for a pedestrian circulation analysis, and that's in accordance to our city Vision Zero action plan. So we would be asking for different recommendations from them for how we can mitigate the traffic and any issues that we're having now. Along with that, we are offering also that we can put a condition on that we can do a 60-day review after it's open. And at that time, we can go back out and see and make sure they're complying with the plans that they have proposed on the traffic study. And after that, if they're not complying, then they have 60 days to remedy the issues. And we have put together a condition that I have provided over to planning that they can go ahead and read into that at this time, if that's okay with you.
If I can ask the chair, through the chair, if I could ask Victor to read the condition into the record? Or
I'm sorry, Mr.
Nicole.
Chairman, through
Yes.
you, I have the condition if you're ready for it.
please.
The added condition will be for 23-0664-SDR1, and the added condition will read, there shall be an administrative review by the Department of Public Works 60 days after opening for each phase to ensure compliance with the approved traffic impact analysis or other acceptable information as it relates to the school pickup and drop-off plan and the overall school operations. If significant traffic issues arise prior to this date, the city traffic engineer may require a review sooner than this 60-day period. Corrections for any non-compliance must be completed by the applicant within 60 days of written notice from the city. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and the applicants would agree to that condition?
That works for us.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Seeing no lights on, Commissioner, would you like to make a motion on the item?
Yes, Chair, through you, I'd like to make a motion on item number 3023-0664, SDR1. A move to approve, subject to staff's condition, with the added condition.
So motion on the floor, please cast your votes. Commissioner Walsh? That's not coming up. Okay. And that motion carries.
And that item will move on to City Council on March 20th.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we are going to circle back to item number 12, which was pulled from the one motion, one vote. Item number 12 is 23-0624, applicant New Singular Wireless PCS LLC, owner the Louise and Benda Living Trust. For possible action on the following land use entitlement project request at 7941 North Jones Boulevard, Ward 6. Staff recommends approval. Related items 12A, 23-0624 VAR, to allow a 13-foot residential adjacency setback where 270 feet is the minimum required. And related item 12B, 23-0624 SUP1, for a major amendment to an approved special use permit, SUP 60674, for the proposed expansion of an existing wireless communication facility, stealth design use. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed additional 10 feet to the existing wireless communication facility is within the scope of the United States Code for Wireless Facilities, which prohibits local government from denying an application to modify an existing facility that does not substantially change the physical dimensions of such tower. Therefore, staff is recommending approval of both the variance and the special use permit. Thank you. Oh, and please note there's additional letters of protest received since publication. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Is the applicant here tonight?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you. If I may, I know it's a little bit out of the normal order of things, but if there was anybody, the applicant came down with the intent of being able to answer questions sort of, on a sidebar with neighbors because there were some concerns and some confusion.
Okay.
So what I'm hoping is possibly if there are folks here for item 12 that we're going to provide public comment, that they could just take a minute and go speak with Mr. Salcedo outside, and then we can trail it and have him come back, if that would be okay with staff
Yeah.
and with you.
Absolutely. Can I get a show of hands if there's anyone here to hear this item tonight?
And I did have an opportunity to speak with the applicant's other representatives and speak to some of the neighbors, so we may have cleared up confusion, but I am still very appreciative of Mr. Salcedo coming down here to offer up his time and the opportunity for neighbors to chat with him.
Okay, I guess one more time, is there anyone from the public that's going to be speaking on this item tonight? Can I get a, okay, one person? Okay. Commissioner, if you're inclined to do that, I'm fine with that, to
Sure.
have them go talk outside and bring it back.
Yeah, that'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you so much,
So if you don't
Mr.
mind,
Chair.
if you could meet with them quickly, and then when you come back, we'll call you back up. Thank you. Okay, moving on to item 15, abeyance 230535 VAR1, applicant owner Doug and Stacy Hughes for possible action on a land use entitlement project to allow an 18-foot front yard setback where 50 feet is required for proposed residential accessory structure, mailroom, and to allow 2 proposed residential accessory structures to be located in front of the main dwelling unit where such is not allowed, and the total floor area of the residential accessory structures to exceed the primary dwelling floor where such is not allowed at 422 South Rancho Drive, Ward 1. Staff recommends a denial. And before I go to staff, I will say, disclose that I do own property within the notification area. It doesn't affect me any greater or lesser. I will be voting. And to staff.
Mr. Chairman, while the applicant has submitted revised plans to reduce the intensity of the variance request, the application is still preferential in nature, and staff is not able to support it and is recommending denial. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes. Good afternoon, Planning Commissioners. My name is Susan from 6030 South Jones Boulevard, here on behalf of the applicant. So what we have here is a subject parcel located on 422 South Rancho Drive.
Susan, what was your last name? I'm sorry.
Florian, sorry.
Okay, Florian, thank you.
So it's on 422 South Rancho Drive, Las Vegas, Nevada 89106. The property is zoned RA. The property owner will demolish the existing structure and construct a new single-family residence. The main residence will have 4,267 square foot of living space and 2,261 square feet of garage/storage space. The guest house will have 1,633 square feet of living space and 1,104 square feet of garage space. A 110 square foot mail room house will be located in the front of the property, and the proposed swimming pool is 528 square feet, which is in compliance with NRS 1411-193. We are asking for a variance. We're requesting to allow for a front yard setback of 18 feet where 50 is required, to allow for a proposed residential accessory structure, which is the mail house in the front. I know that Jeremiah from my office met, and the applicant met with Commissioner Rogan, and they went through the whole thing, and I know that we had a couple of things that Commissioner Rogan wanted us to fix, which was move the house from the back to the front. The mailroom is going to stay where it is, and then there's more house square footage than there is garage and storage. And the pool will be less than 600 square feet. With that, I conclude I have a couple renderings of also how the house will look. So this will be the front of the house. This is where the mail room will be located between the two gates. This is another one. And then this is the entrance of the home. With that, I conclude my presentation, and I'm here to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much. This was noticed as a public hearing. Would anyone like to be heard on this specific item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you, Chair. I did meet with the owner of the property. If you looked at this prior to the other meetings, it was a bit of an unusual application. I wasn't that pleased with it, but I try to let people build the home that they want to build. He made a few modifications. It's essentially the same structure. It looks very similar. The only thing that I thought was okay was the mailroom. I think it's very clever the way he set it up, and I wasn't too opposed to that request. It's very small. It doesn't really it doesn't really do anything that I think is a blight on the property, and it's in fact going to be hidden by landscaping, so you won't even notice that it's there. If anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Otherwise, I'm ready to make a motion.
Please do.
On agenda item 15, project 23-0535 VAR1, it'd be a motion for approval subject to staff's conditions. And Miss, you agree to all conditions?
I apologize. Can you repeat the last part?
You agree to all the conditions?
Yes.
Okay. Thank
Great.
you.
There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. That motion carries.
Thank you so much. Have a good afternoon.
And that item is final action unless appealed to city clerk in 10 days.
Great. I'm going to call the applicant back up for number 12. It's been read into the record. If I could get your name and address for the record.
Is this on? Hi, Omar Salcedo here on behalf of AT&T. That's spell O-M-A-R. Salcedo is S-A-U-C-E-D-O, 6750 via Oste Parkway, Suite 200, 89119.
Roxy Collette, also here on behalf of AT&T, employee of Centerline Communications. It's Roxy, R-O-X-Y, C-O-L-E-T-T-E. My address is 1751 East 138th Avenue in Brighton, Colorado, 80602.
Thank you. Would you like to tell us about the application?
Yes, so as this is a 6409 application for a proposed cell tower extension of a water tower. I think there was some confusion whether this was going to be a new tower or an existing tower. The plans specify that this is going to be an extension of 10 feet, which is a little bit de minimis, so residents wouldn't be able to really notice. Maybe at first they'll notice the height difference. And the reason that we're doing this is because this tower is at capacity. It's a 4-carrier tower, so it has ourselves, Verizon, T-Mobile, and Dish on there. And the purpose for that extension is to kind of add some new equipment, some new antennas to continue the modernization of our telecommunication infrastructure. As you might be aware, we're transitioning from 3G to 4G to 5G. As we continue to buy additional spectrum from the FCC, we're upgrading our equipment to make sure that residents in the area have the appropriate connectivity and there are no coverage gaps. So essentially this tower, if it was not approved, we would have to probably look for a space for a second tower because as I explained, it's already at additional capacity, so that's the purpose for this extension.
Great, thank you for the presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard on it? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and go to Commissioner Taylor.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple quick questions for Mr. Salcedo for the record. So can you just give us a little bit more clarification on what 6409 project is?
Sure. 6409 project is essentially an eligible facilities request for a modification of an existing wireless tower, and it does not substantially change the physical dimensions of such tower or the base station. So this project is an eligible facilities request because it's only 10 feet. If it was higher than 20 feet, that would be a substantial change, but in this case, 10 feet is not a substantial change, and we're not really changing too many of the dimensions. The tower is going to look exactly the same. We're just adding some additional equipment to the capacity.
Okay, thank you. And if I might just ask a question of the city attorney, from the perspective of the city, what's the impact of a 6409 project?
Thank you, Commissioner. John Rodilla for the record. A 6409 project is a project that is encapsulated in the Federal Communications orders that requires the city to review the application within 60 days. And so long as there's not a substantial change, the city basically has to approve that to facilitate the expansion of wireless networks in the country as determined by the FCC.
Okay, thank you. And then, so what that means is that even though we received, and I understand that these oppositions may have been based on the confusion that it was a new tower, a second tower, not just an extension of the tower, but despite the opposition, it is then incumbent on the city to approve the project because of this federal guidance.
Yes, the FCC preempted local government control over non-substantial changes, and the changes proposed for this tower are considered not substantial and conforming to the 6409 provisions.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So with that little bit of clarification for the record, I'm prepared to make a motion.
Please do.
Okay. So for item 230624 and its subparts, I would make a motion to approve subject to any applicable and enforceable conditions.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, that is final action tonight, and let's appeal to the city clerk in 10 days.
Great. Thank you.
Actually, I'm so sorry, Mr. Floyd. I think the councilwoman wanted to keep that as not final action.
Oh, thank you for that clarification. That item will move on to City Council on March 20th. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Floyd.
Okay, moving on to item number 16, abeyance 230565 SUP1. Applicant Ephraim Zakin, owner Vintage Vegas Gambling, Inc., for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for proposed 5,721 square foot automobile rental use at 128 Fremont Street, Ward 5. Staff recommends approval. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, staff finds the proposed automobile rental service can be conducted in a harmonious manner with the surrounding uses and recommends approval of the special use permit. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we get your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening. Ephraim Zakin, 9492 Gainey Ranch Avenue, 89147.
Thank you, Ephraim.
And I'm Tim Lager, 7030 Arville Street. I'm the general manager of Binions. I'm representing the landlord for the applicant.
Thank you, Tim. Do you want to tell us anything about the application?
He's been a tenant for us for many years in different businesses. we had this idea for the slingshot thing, because we keep seeing these around downtown all the time, but nobody rents them downtown. You have to go on the south end of the Strip or down the industrial area. So I talked to him and his partners, and they said they were willing to do something like this. So we think it's good benefit for our customers downtown, so they don't have to leave downtown to go rent these vehicles. So, and it's a good amenity for our property.
Great, thank you. I do remember the application previously, but just to update everybody that's watching.
Yes.
This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone would like to be heard on this portion? Seeing no one, I will go to Vice Chair Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And again, to the applicant, I appreciate the time to be able to come out and look at the project. I am now well versed in what a slingshot is. And I actually think it's a very cool project. I think it's fitting for the location that you'd like to add it. And, you know, as I stated on site, it'll certainly be a way to activate the backside of the location. So unless there's further comment from the rest of the commission, I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, please do.
Item 23-0565 SUP1, motion for approval, subject to staff's conditions, and you do agree with all the staff's conditions?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Very much.
Thank you.
And Mr. Chairman, that item will go to City Council on March 20th, 2024.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 19, 230452 VAR, applicant Joe Lopez, owner, Extra Space Storage, for possible action on a land use entitlement project to allow proposed 8-foot tall front yard fence where 5 feet is the maximum height allowed. I'm sorry, 19. Did I skip 18? My apologies. We're going to 18. I skipped one.
To go back?
Yeah. Item number 18, my apologies. 23044 for VAR1, applicant owner Guadalupe Miquel, for possible action on a land use entitlement project to allow an existing 5-foot tall fence with 3-foot solid base in the front yard, where 5 feet with a 2-foot solid base is the maximum height allowed at 4912 Montebello Avenue, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can I get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, staff finds the variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and is recommending denial. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Hello, my name is Brenda Michelle, and I'm here to assist my mother, Guadalupe Michelle, at 4912 Montebello Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89110.
Thank you. Can you tell us about the application?
Yes, we're here applying for a variance approval because we want to keep our fence for many reasons, but primarily for safety. We have a serious homeless problem in our area because we live behind a ravine. Keeping our wall increases the safety because it allows our dogs to monitor and roam freely back and forth from the front to the backyard. The additional height, also as stated, provides a safe barrier between the dogs and people passing. We have had to call law enforcement to come out to our property many times before because they try to jump over the wall, our fence, with the most recent incident occurring back in November. We've also had a certified licensed engineer in the state of Nevada come out and inspect the wall to verify the wall is well built and meets all safety requirements, which he approved. I also have multiple letters from our neighbors backing up our request for the wall approval.
Would you like to turn those in to staff?
Sure.
Great, thank you. If you could turn the picture you have in front of you counterclockwise, one. There we go. Back. There we go.
Sorry
Perfect.
about that.
Thank you. No problem. Okay, thank you for the presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and go to Commissioner Schlottman.
Thank you, Chair, through you. I looked at the fence. I don't have a problem with it. It looks nice. It looks nicer than the typical one with the little vertical wrought iron on top. So in certain areas, even dip down to below that 3 feet. So I think it's appropriate, and you'll see my support tonight.
Thank you so much.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I would. Chair, through you, on number 18, 23-0444 VAR1, I move to approve, subject to staff's condition, and you agree to staff's conditions?
No, sir. or, sorry, one more?
Do you agree to all of staff's conditions?
I apologize, yes.
Okay.
I didn't hear.
Thank you.
Sorry about
That would have been a first.
I'm nervous.
All right, no
You
problem.
do great. You do
She
great.
agrees, so, and I made a motion for
There's a
approval.
motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And that item is final action tonight, and let's appeal to the city clerk in 10 days.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, back to item number 19. 230452 VAR1 applicant Joe Lopez, owner Extra Space Storage. For possible action on land use entitlement project to allow a proposed 8-foot tall front yard fence where 5 feet is the maximum height allowed at 1120 South Las Vegas Boulevard, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. I will quickly disclose that I do own property within the notification area. Doesn't affect me any greater, lesser. We'll be voting on it. And I would like the staff report, please.
Mr. Chairman, staff finds the root variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and is recommending denial. Please note additional letters of support and protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening. My name is Joe Lopez, and the property address is 1120 South Las Vegas Boulevard.
Thank you.
Megan Gutierrez, 6274 Barton Manor, Henderson, 89011.
Thank you, Megan. Can you tell us about the application, please?
So yes, we're trying to get an acceptance to secure our property. We've been challenged with the current environment in front of our property. We're constantly challenged with keeping our employees. We have hourly employees that work there, and the safety of our customers and patrons. We service both the community and businesses locally, and within the last, I would say, 4 to 6 months, we had to go to a lockdown facility just because of the amount of theft, burglary, transients and homeless just within our property and migrating inward. And we're constantly challenged with keeping employees wanting to work there. So, I come tonight asking for a waiver to see if we can secure our property and add fencing in front. The city did an expansion a few years ago, I think, on Las Vegas Boulevard, and they pushed the sidewalk. They expanded the sidewalk and they pushed the property back. And I think from our surveyor information and the architect that I spoke to yesterday that just drew this plan as of yesterday, we lost 10 feet from that expansion in Las Vegas, so that kind of made a hindrance for the traffic control or public works. However, we would like to request to put the fencing, we would leave the gate open during business hours, and then after hours, that gate would be secured, or that automatic gate. And it's just to try to keep some of the transients from just pondering into our property, sleeping in the parking lot. I have some pictures as of just today and yesterday. These are some pictures just recent that we got from our cameras as of yesterday and today. This was today. So you can see they're just coming in. It makes it very challenging to manage around this environment. And we're just asking for, the commissioning members to help us. This was a break-in yesterday. They went through the neighbor and they cut the fence, so they're going into our landscape. That's a repeat, but you could just see it just ongoing on a daily basis, what we're dealing with. And when they built, when they pushed back, you can see here, they built a retaining wall and they made it the perfect height for a sitting, so it's become a bench on a daily basis. They're sitting there throughout the day and migrating inward and coming into the office. And we've had to install buzzards in our offices just to keep them out from walking in and asking, our employees for favors or restroom or whatever you have. So we're just asking for some support. And, I asked this question. I certainly wouldn't want my son or daughter working in this environment. And, I don't think anyone else would want their children working in this environment. Just a rendering. This is from our design team. This is just a rendering, but something that, we wanted to look similar to that. Anything to add, Megan? No? I'll put this back up, sorry.
Okay, thank you. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will close it and go to the commission. And I'll quickly, before I go to Commissioner Schlottman, say that I for over a decade, I lived in the building just to the north and was facing this property. So I saw everything that this applicant has been talking about. And I know that the Walgreens across the street recently closed. They had some difficult times with theft and tried to get through some of that. And, For some reason, I thought my neighbor owned this property for years, so every time I'd see something, I'd tell him, and he'd look at me kind of crazy, but he wouldn't say anything. It turns out he didn't own it, you did. Now it all makes sense, but I can see the issues that this property's had. So Commissioner Schlotman?
Yes, thank you. Through you, Chair. So what's the current height of the fence?
So right now, we have an existing fence on the landscape side, and that is 8 feet tall. But in front of so in this section here, this is 8 feet tall already. From the drive aisle, we have 2 drive aisles. From this section to here, we have no fencing, and we're asking to allow us to, obviously this fence for a landing pad would be in here, but just to put the fence across the front of the property, up on the retaining wall, just to keep them from not only sitting, because if we put that fence behind that retaining wall, we've just made a sitting bench for them, and they have a back support. So we're trying to minimize the opportunity for them to be able to sit there all day long, as well as being able to keep them from going in, like you've seen some of the pictures where they're walking into our parking lot, sleeping, laying down, jumping into our land.
So it's just on the Las Vegas Boulevard side where you're wanting to increase that fence?
Yes. Everywhere else we have fencing already.
Okay. I think I misunderstood the app, thinking it was just increasing the fence as it is further back, which I would have been more on board with, but bringing an 8-foot fence all the way out to Las Vegas Boulevard and just putting it, look, I build in the neighborhood. I've been in that neighborhood since 2005. I know this area really well. I live on Fremont Street. My office is on Fremont and Maryland Parkway. Somebody just got stabbed there yesterday. I see this stuff. I rebuilt a building that you probably know of, the old costume store at 1224 South 3rd Street, right on 3rd and Colorado. I've seen all the people hanging out in those lots over there. And then also, I mean, the apartments are coming in right behind you, hoping that will help clean up the neighborhood. I mean, I was called even when the U-Haul launched out of your space into the porte-cochere across the street to help board it up. So I know this area really well. I wouldn't be able to support it tonight. I mean, we could hold it for 30 days. I could meet you on the site. You could talk me through it. Maybe see if you can get my support.
Okay.
But just looking at it from the standpoint of where it is right now, I wouldn't be able to support. So I'll leave it up to you if you want to let the Planning Commission take a vote on this tonight, or would you like to hold it 30 days and maybe meet with me?
I'd like to hold it 30 days and meet with you. I think we can maybe come to an agreement and find a happy medium. That'd be great.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be amazing. Great.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay. Yep. And here in a second, I'll meet you over in the corner and I'll give you my contact info.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, through you, I'd like to, on item number 19, 23-0452 VAR1, move to hold this in abeyance for 30 days.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes.
To the March 12th Planning Commission hearing.
Okay. And that motion carries. All right. Moving on to item number 20, 23053 SDR1, applicant MP CMG Rancho LLC, owner Pre-Rancho Craig LLC, for possible action land use entitlement project for proposed 2,325 square foot restaurant with drive-through development with a waiver of building orientation standards with a 250 square foot outdoor patio area located on the east side of Rancho, approximately 800 feet south of Craig. Staff recommends approval. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed restaurant with drive-through is compatible with the adjacent development in the area, and with the exception of building orientation, meets the minimum development standards requirements by Title 19. Therefore, staff recommends approval of the site development plan review. Please note additional letters of support were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, good evening. My name is Benjamin Fiedler. It's Fiedler. I'm representing FHA Architects, 14344 Y Street, Suite 204 in Omaha, Nebraska, 68137.
Great, thanks, Benjamin. Can you tell us about the application, please?
Yeah, so this is for a fast casual restaurant shell building that would be located just southeast of Rancho and Craig. We've worked with staff through the pre-application process to make sure we comply with as many things as we can. We made sure the parking requirements are all met, separation from the residential area behind is all compliant. So the one thing that is noted as a waiver is the setback. Typically, it would be pushed all the way up to the property line along the road, but for circulation, we do have a drive aisle in between the building and the property line, and so it's just that and some landscaping. So we've pulled the patio around the building and made sure that it's as close as it can be.
Okay, great, thank you. This is noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard on item number 20? Seeing no one, I'll go to Vice Chair Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and no issues with this item, and unless there's further comment, ready to make a motion?
Great, thank you.
I'd like to make a motion for approval on item 23-0503 SDR1, subject to staff's conditions, and you do agree with all staff's conditions?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. That motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, that is final action tonight, unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving on to item number 21, 230561 SUP, applicant owner PCB LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project for proposed facility for transitional living for released offenders use with waivers to allow an 823-foot distance separation from a city park and to allow a 1,018-foot distance separation for an individual care center licensed facility for more than 12 children where 1,500 feet is required at 230, 234, 238, and 248 West Chicago Avenue, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, staff is not able to support the distance separation waivers requested by the applicant from protected uses such as a park and a child care center. Therefore, staff is recommending denial of the special use permit. Please note additional letters of protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and addresses for the records, please?
Nicole Capra, Three Keys Communities. We're at 230 West Chicago Avenue. And we are real estate developers. We just purchased approximately $22 million of real estate in Naked City, 149 units, and we are proposing just 28 of those be approved for a transitional living facility. We have combined, I have personally over a decade of experience owning and operating these. We have 21 years of Metro law enforcement experience and over 10 years of Nevada Department of Corrections. And this is what we do, and we've been very successful. Overall, transitional living facilities actually stabilize communities, improve neighborhoods, contribute to job development. And yeah, we'd appreciate your support.
My name is Rob Roselle. I'm also part of Three Keys Communities. I'm at 7561 Corvina Ave, 89113. We see this project as actually cleaning up this neighborhood. Although we have some opposition that feels differently, we've seen this neighborhood. It's one of the reasons why we're so excited about being involved on these streets behind the stratosphere. Because of what we are planning on doing to this community, exterior improvements to the buildings, as well as cleaning up the streets in which we're a part of, as well as this tenant base. We think and believe very firmly that this project is going to do nothing but enhance this neighborhood.
Thank you, Rob. Anyone else?
Yes, Mr. Chairperson, my name is Dave Crete, 3945 Quadrille Street, Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm also owner-broker of Aspire Realty Group and the property manager for Three Keys' properties. I would just like to point out that this use, we understand as a use that when I actually served on a planning commission was a NIMBY issue, not in my backyard. And so we recognize that as being an issue because of the fear of what it is. We did hold a public hearing at the community center, at the Stupactic Community Center, and there was some opposition. There was more opposition when we started the hearing than when we ended. Maggie from Casa de Luz was somebody who was absolutely against this, and she takes care of all the kids in the area that need help with homework and after school and before school and everything else. At the end of the hearing, she was far more supportive and in fact was very supportive. I have walked the property personally with Las Vegas Metro Police Department from the DTAC commander all the way down, to include yesterday I was with Crime Prevention Bureau, where we walked for the property, and we're complying with all the recommendations that they've made to ensure that the property is secure. We have taken a property that about 3 weeks ago there was a double homicide on property, where when I took over management 60 days ago, there was 30 to 40 homeless sleeping on the property every night. They're not there now. If you went there this moment, you would not find them. You would find a clean property where people are living in dignity. And that's what Three Keys provides for the community. And in Naked City, I will actually end up becoming, by the time all their acquisitions are done, the largest property manager that's in Naked City. So it's my responsibility to ensure that the community standard that they have placed upon me is upheld. These 28 units that will be down there actually are in buildings where there's courtyards, so they're completely secured from the outside. We have cameras that are monitored by Metro that provide 360-degree surveillance all the way around the building, and we also have armed security that goes through all Three Keys properties at least 3 times a day, of which I get a daily report. These are developers, yes. They are people who invest in properties that would like to see affordable properties remain in the Naked City, where as someone who was stationed here in the military going back to 1983, the Naked City's had a bit of a reputation, and we understand that. But it is a place that we can provide people a great opportunity to live, and we can provide people the opportunity to have a second chance. These are people who have served their time for the crimes that they have committed. The crimes they have committed do not include anything that is considered violent or sexual in nature. And these are people that, in speaking with Las Vegas Metro Police Department, that they will work with us to ensure a background check is conducted on every person to ensure that the guy that went to jail for a DUI isn't a threat to society, but trying to re-enter society. And as I said in the beginning, this is a type of property that is a NIMBY principal property. It's got to go somewhere. They deserve a second chance. And I don't believe you would find ownership that would be willing to do a better job than what we have. As the property manager, I'll ensure that. I know there's opposition from true developers, and I've been one, and I know what they do, and I know what they want to do. We just want to ensure that there's affordable housing right next to an employment area, and that we give people a second chance. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson, for your time, and commission members.
Thank you.
Yeah, if I may just add one additional thing. I am 24 years clean and sober. In 1999, I was one of the residents that will be staying in our property. I know the fight that they have to come back and become a productive member of society, that we want to ease that process. The second thing that I'll add is, unlike anybody else in that community, we offer a lounge for Metro Police to be able to take a break, relieve themselves. We have a coffee bar set up with snacks that they're able to use, and they are very, very excited about having that opportunity right there within those streets. So that's already been set up for them.
Thank you, Rob. Anything else?
Yeah, so my name is Jennifer Benjamins. I did 22 years with Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department. I'm a retired sergeant. One of my jobs was to be the community policing sergeant, which I worked with communities like this, with owners, with tenants, to improve their way of life in that area. So with my experience, I'll title me the community liaison for the business, and we're going to keep making sure that these tenants are successful in their journey to whatever vision they have for their life. So with my connections to the constable's office, to the actual police department themselves, code enforcement, and then the nonprofits, so we can make sure that not just our tenants, but the whole community has resources out there to improve the way that they are living, and that they succeed in life. Thank you.
And I'll just add one more thing. So in addition to the city approval, we then go to state and we'll be approved by them, and then parole and probation. So we're under strict legal compliance. Our tenants are highly regulated, and we operate within all compliance and laws of the state. So.
Thank you very much. Thanks for the presentation from all of you. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard on this item? I have a few people. If I could just have you sit in the front row there, we'll get through the comments and then call you back up. There's 3 microphones if you want to come up. I need your name and address for the record. I'll give each person 2 minutes to tell us why you're for or against the project, and please try not to have redundancy. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner and Commissioners. Thank you. My name is Glenn Plantone. I live up in the northwest part of town. We own and manage about 100 properties in the Naked City area right now through my property management division. We like the program, like Dave said, and I've known Dave for years. It's a great program. I just don't think this is the right area for the program. We've invested a lot of time and money in this area in the last several years, and we have a vision for Naked City with new affordable housing. We're renovating many of our units, and we're spending about $20,000 a door, and we want a better quality clientele in the area. I also own 4 group homes. Most of those are not in this area. They're single-family homes located throughout different areas of Las Vegas. Thank you.
Thank you. Your name and address for the record, please.
Hey, good evening. Hey, David Renan, 200 West Sahara Avenue, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89102. Good evening, Commissioners. Here tonight as a resident of Naked City for the past 6 years, and here secondly as an investor in the area, just like Glenn, who is my partner on some projects. We privately own and control about 95 doors in Naked City, as well as land on Philadelphia Avenue and Fairfield, which is part of our fully entitled 87-unit multifamily project that we're pretty excited about. We had a great lunch with Mitch and Rob, actually, from 3 Keys, who are here tonight, and we're happy to welcome them as landlords in the community, but unfortunately, in good conscience, we can't welcome this proposal to run a transitional inmate facility out of the area. We believe this transitional housing for released offenders proposal is really an inflection point for the future of Naked City. We got to really choose between the status quo, which hasn't been working for the past 50 years, and a different path, which kind of leads to affordable, attainable workforce housing for those that live near the Strip and work near the Strip. We believe this type of program will completely kill any hope for desperately needed new development in the area. We fear this program will open the floodgates to more programs which we have seen come into the community in the past 2 years, including 3 sober living homes that are currently in Naked City that at least we know about right now. There could be more. We believe that more police cars, more security cameras, more gates and barbed wire, more rooftop police lights is not normal. This type of prisonification and isolation of properties divides residents, it hurts community integration, and it continues to leave a stain on tourism for the North Strip. Collectively, we need to make a decision about the future of Naked City because we can't have it both ways. We can't designate the area as a safe village program, which Sheriff McMahill has, where we expend taxpayer resources into arresting drug and crime offenders and then allow them to come right back into the community after serving their sentences. We can't keep traveling down this path that has led us nowhere for the past 50 years. We believe Naked City deserves better and has a bright future, and we encourage you to follow staff's recommendation of denial of this application. Thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. Thanks for getting through that. Is there anyone else like to be heard? Your name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Steve Thayer. It's T-H-A-Y-E-R, Vice President and General Manager of the Stratton Hotel, Casino, and Tower. So I'm here, although we appreciate what 3 Keys' commitment to affordable housing and believe there is a need for transitional living facilities. We are here on behalf of the Stratton Golden Entertainment to strongly oppose this process or this procedure on Chicago. Look, everyone needs a second chance. We know that. We think that's a great thing. But we believe that if you're going to give somebody a second chance, you have to make sure and you have to have responsibility that they're going to be as successful as possible in that second chance. We don't believe that this location on Chicago is right for that reason. And again, we applaud what the Safe Village program has started to do in that area, and we think there's a lot of forward momentum in that area. We think that this does not allow for a good second chance. So that area does not allow for a good second chance. I have 50 employees that live in Naked City. I have another 100 plus that live on the other side of Las Vegas Boulevard. We started to have conversations with our team members to find out what their viewpoint is. I've got over 150 signatures on a petition against this. There is not any support from inside our property and from inside our team members that live in this area for something like this. Again, we're not denouncing Three Keys and what they want to do. We applaud what they're doing in other areas within Naked City and with their investment. The Chicago area is just not the right place for this, and we strongly oppose it.
Thank you. Thanks for coming out and for your
Thank you very
comments.
much.
Thank you. Anyone else like to be heard? Seeing no one else, I will close the public hearing and ask the applicants to come back up. I'll give you a minute or two if you'd like to make a comment.
Sure, I'll just comment on Dave's better quality tenant statement. What we currently have down there is a mess. And for the record, the reason why we have such metro presence, the reason why we have such high security is to deal with what we inherited. Once we clean this up and we're able to get rid of some of the residents and the things that are going on down there, our tenants will not need that level of security. Our tenants are safe, secure. As I mentioned, I've done this for over 12 years and I've never had a single call for service at any of my properties in 12 years, not one. Our residents are under strict regulations, so they have, like I said, they're monitored by parole and probation, sometimes the courts, other systems. We have massive community support. Some of the, our biggest supporters, Hope for Prisoners, is, works hand in hand with McMahill. We work with Metro for, under the Safe Village initiative. So it's not that we have extra Metro because of our residents, it's because we're cleaning up what's currently down there. To say that tenants can't get clean and stay clean in Naked City, that's a completely different argument, and that's ridiculous because with the support that we provide and the wraparound services, our tenants can get and stay clean anywhere, but these are the neighborhoods that are most appropriate for them. They're close to employment. All of our tenants are working. These are working programs. They're gone. They work all day long, so they're contributing to the workforce. So we need to be close to buses, close to the strip, close to industry where our tenants can work. And we are the new developers for Naked City. We just spent $22 million in Naked City. We purchased 149 units total. This is just 28 of the 149. So we are coming into Naked City and revitalizing it, and we need your support to contribute to this part of our program.
And just one other thing that I'll add to that, our capital injection into this neighborhood is over $2 million is what we'll be putting into the exterior of these buildings. The second thing that I'll add, and a lot of people aren't aware of this, is when somebody steps outside the lane of the law and they somehow get released back into society, even if we know that what they're doing, we are handcuffed by the eviction laws for 30, 60, 90 days it takes to get them moved out of our apartments. Under the transitional living facility, literally within hours, like 2 hours, we can have a tenant removed that steps outside of the lane and is no longer part of our program. This is not something we need to play around with. So I just want to be clear about that.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to turn it over to the commission for discussion. I just had one question before I go to Commissioner Schlottman. It's Nicole, right? You said you've been doing it for 12 years. How many of these transitional living facilities do you have in the city?
I've had a total of 96 units, and of which 2 total were actually licensed by the city. So 2 were in the city, the other were in the county.
So you have 2 units in the city?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one is a 24-bed and another is a 12-bed.
Okay, and that's through the city and then I guess the state as well?
Yep, they go city, state, parole, and probation.
Great. I just wanted to get some clarity on that. Commissioner Schlottman?
Yes, Chairman, through you. Thank you for coming out and the presentation tonight. I do know this area pretty well. All of my time in Vegas has been spent in downtown. I had the privilege of working on a project in Naked City a few years back, 10 years back, 15 years back, called Casa de Luz. So I got to meet a lot of the people in the neighborhood and was able to see some of the challenges that they had to face on a daily basis. And it was a pretty scary place. And even today, I think it in certain senses, it still could be scary. And I've seen improvements happening. I see more improvements happening as time goes on. We're getting the atomic golf over there. And, you know, we've seen Allure come in. We've seen some other things happen. The developers at the back of the room are presenting or have presented projects and have built quite a few projects in the recent years. And I see the investment that y'all are putting down there as well. This isn't a not in my backyard at all. I live on Fremont Street, and I've seen drugs and prostitution, and I've seen people get shot, and I have some pretty rough elements within my neighborhood. So, and we have transitional housing within my neighborhood, and so this isn't anything new to me. I think one of the biggest issues is we're always trying to find a way to push this little part of town, Naked City, to the next level, and we're taking baby steps getting there, but I don't see how this actually helps promote Naked City and make it a safer place. I know that you're saying you'll have you know, your safety procedures in place and things such as that, but when I look at the staff report, we're asking for a distance separation of 820 feet from a city park, where 1,500 feet is required, and 1,018-foot separation from an individual care facility licensed for more than 12 children, where 1,500 feet is required. And it was set by City Council that these boundaries are needed between this type of facility and a city park, individual care facility, and then there's like 5 or 6 other components. So, I mean, just in reading the staff report and seeing staff's recommendation for denial, and also how this goes against the primary goal of the Gateway District, which is to promote or to rebuild that area, I just can't see myself getting behind this. I've received probably 40 or 50 phone calls and emails, which I've forwarded over to planning, which I think is in our backup. And then plus I have another 150 signatures right here that was given to me tonight that's in opposition. Sometimes, you know, even though we really want something to happen in a particular area, sometimes it feels a little bit forced. And to me, this feels just a little bit forced, considering that we didn't have more support from the neighborhood. But I'm open to hearing what the rest of the Planning Commission has to say. It looks like Commissioner Walsh was...
Through the chair, Commissioner Walsh, or through me, Chair Cherry, Commissioner Walsh.
Thank you. Are your clients coming through, are you planning on having these become licensed CBLAs with the State Department of Mental Health?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
Community-based living arrangements. It's with the State Health Department, and they have a program that they provide similar housing, but those clients have to be at least 50% some type of mental disorder. And does your program have anything to do with CBLAs?
No.
Okay, so what's going on, what I've heard, and this came back from Sheriff Lombardo before he became governor, is that half of the jail population has mental health issues. And it's really overcrowding the prisons. They don't know what to do. But, you know, he says it's a reoccurring issue. They're in good behavior, and then they go out, and then they're right back in, you know. And so 800 and something feet is not that far away for somebody to go around if they decide to go off the wagon or wherever like that. So is there going to be any staff on the premises 24/7?
Yeah, there is. So we'll have, we have an on-site staff member that lives there 24 hours a day, and then as well as a case manager and operation manager, and then we have our property managers. Just to clarify, so our tenants are coming directly from, many of them directly from Nevada Department of Corrections, and these are I understand what you're saying with mental health. Those aren't our clients. So again, we only have 28 units down there, and there's hundreds of people right now currently incarcerated who are unable to get out but have made the parole boards. We handpick our tenants. So we work directly with NDOC to make sure that our tenants are what they consider low-level offenders who are least likely on the scale to reoffend. So we aren't equipped to deal with people with that kind of mental health. Those typically go to other places like Freedom House or something like that. That's not who we're working with. Ours, again, are usually coming directly from Casa Grande, NDOC. These are working first-time offenders, low-level offenders who just cannot have nowhere to go because they have a criminal background, so they can't rent.
Okay. Okay, as long as who's going to be licensing them? The city? Where are you going to get your licenses, your business licenses?
Yeah, so we get the city, and then the state actually does all of the building improvements, the fire marshal, all of them come out, and then we work with parole and probation. So parole and probation oversees the whole program.
So there's no health institutions at all that are involved in this?
No, we don't do mental health.
So where does the funding come for the individual?
So majority of our tenants are self-pay. If they come directly from Casa Grande, they've already been working for quite a bit of time. Most of them have thousands and thousands of dollars on their books. They pay in advance when they make their boards, so when they're approved for parole, then they get sent to us, and PNP makes sure that they have typically 3 months in advance paid so that PNP knows where they're at and can watch them until they are ready to move on. So they're self-pay. If they happen to be indigent, then they will receive indigent funding from parole and probation, meaning that they are incarcerated, they've made their board, but they can't afford their first 3 months rent, and then PNP will subsidize that. Occasionally, if they haven't actually gone to NDOC and they're sent over from the court, sometimes they are given their sentence to us in lieu of incarceration, and then at that time, the courts will pay for their rent.
I was a state health facility inspector for the Bureau of Healthcare Quality and Compliance, and I can tell you, similar facilities like this, as good as the intentions, I saw them go bad within 3 months. You know, things started to happen really bad. In many cases, we had to close them down months after they got their license. So, to me, dealing with this type of population, there should be more safeguards put in, especially for the community, because, you know, I was a father of 5 with little kids, so I know how parents feel about that. There's a situation going on right where I live right now that nobody knew about. And so I'll just leave it at that. But as long as it's not a CBLA, because that's a whole different story, and you wouldn't be able to put your clients into it if it was a CBLA. Okay.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Rogan?
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and through you. I think you have a tough job when you're trying to find locations for transitional living, and I was actually pleased to hear that you had 96 units. I'm surprised by that, given how difficult it must be to find places for this type of housing. And I know that it's crucial. I think it's probably you're that spot between prison where maybe these folks have finally got their what's been holding them back. They've got it in order, and now they're stepping outside the prison walls, and they need that support structure with a little bit more freedom that your facilities provide and have provided, and if approved would provide here. My issue with your project is the scale of the project. Our code defines the facility for transitional living to be up to 6 people, and you're requesting 68, right? Next door to each other in one location. And our code also is encouraging that these types of facilities are dispersed throughout the community so that there's not a concentration of ex-offenders living in one location like Naked City. And it does that by saying once a facility is approved, another facility can't be within 1,500 feet of that location. So putting 68 people at one location is 11 times what the code really allows. And that's what I have an issue with. I would like to see more of these. I think that they're very crucial, and it sounds like you're a reputable group of people that would be assisting folks that are in this position. But concentrating 68 folks at one location, especially a location like this, which is itself in transition, ironically, is very difficult for me to accept. I think that if you if you came back with a project before us that complied more with code, closer to that 6 people, complying with the distance separations that are in code, maybe a little bit off, I'm sure we'd be happy to receive that and hear what you have to say. But with 68 people coming in, where 6 are the normal, what's allowed, I just can't get behind it. So I wish you luck in finding some location that works, but unfortunately I can't support it tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other commissioners? Okay, Commissioner Schlotman?
Yes, Chair, through you. And I echo his comments too. I think there's a huge need for this. And as you find additional spaces within the city, I'd encourage you to reach out to us when you're going through the process of submitting your application and everything, so we can become a little bit better educated than just trying to explain it to us right here on the dais. That way we can ask maybe some more questions and become more familiar, and then maybe be able to look at some of those components. But due to those reasons of the number of people and the distance separations from the park and the child care facility that goes directly against our city ordinances, on item number 21, 23-0561, SUP1, I'd move to follow staff's recommendation for denial.
There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. Yes vote is for denial. And that motion carries.
And Mr. Chairman, that is final action tonight unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Commission.
Thank you. Moving on to item number 22, I will be abstaining. I do have an open contract with the architect that has worked on this project. I'll hand it over to Vice Chair Williams.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Item 23-0627, SDR1, applicant Peterson Management, owner Madison Church LLC, for possible action on a land use entitlement project request for a proposed 5-story tall, 92-unit mixed-use development with 7,520 square feet of commercial area with waivers of Appendix F interim downtown Las Vegas Area 2 development standards at 300 South 7th Street. Can I get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, while waivers are requested regarding setbacks, parking, and landscaping, staff finds the proposed infill mixed-use development adheres to the overall intent of the Vision 2045 Downtown Las Vegas Master Plan. The project is designed in a compatible manner with the existing development and the surrounding area. Therefore, staff recommends approval. Please note additional letters of support were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you. And to the applicant, could I get your name and address for the record?
Good evening, Jennifer Lazovich, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here tonight on behalf of the applicant. We appreciate staff recommending approval of the project, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. This item was noticed for a public hearing, so anyone here from the public who'd like to be heard, please come forward. Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and basically turn this over to myself. And so looking at the project in its totality, I actually think it's a good project, and it is compatible, and I have no opposition to staff's recommendation, so I'd like to open it up for further comment.
Yes, Chairman, Vice Chair, through you. I appreciate Ms. Lazovich bringing this project to us. I like the project. That building's old, dilapidated, been there forever. About time for something new, and we need housing like nothing else in downtown. We're behind the ball on our housing. We start bringing in commercial years ago, and now housing's starting to catch up. Wish you luck with the subterranean parking. Hopefully that works out, so we don't have to see you here for looking at new entitlements for above-ground parking, but we'll see how that goes. And anyways, if there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
Mr. Vice Chair, on item 22, 23-0627, SDR1, I move to approve, subject to staff's conditions, and you agree to all staff's conditions?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Motion on the floor, yes for approval.
Thank you.
Motion carries. Thank you.
And that item will move on to City Council on March 20th.
Okay, moving on to item number 23 and related items 23A and B. 230629, applicant owner IHC Health Services, Inc., for possible action on the following land use entitlement project request at 510 South Rampart Boulevard. Staff recommends denial. 23A is 230629 SUP1 for proposed garden supply plant nursery use. And 23B is 230629 SDR1 for proposed 66,720 square foot garden supply plant nursery development with waiver of building orientation requirements. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the applicant is proposing to operate a plant nursery within the Las Vegas Renaissance Master Plan area, where design characteristics of development is expected to be unique and distinctive, as demonstrated by neighboring Boca Park and Tivoli Village. The request to continue to use chain link fencing and a modular building on a permanent basis does not align with the vision for the Las Vegas Renaissance Master Plan, nor the City of Las Vegas Master Plan, which envisions high-intensity uses such as mixed-use development that reflects the unique architectural features already in existence in the area. Staff finds the proposed development will not be compatible nor harmonious with the existing development in the area and recommends denial of both applications. Please note additional letters of support and protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we get your name and address for the record, please?
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. Dave Turner with Boffman and Turner representing the applicant. What we're asking for here, you probably recognize this site as what they call the pumpkin patch site over at Rampart and Alta. What we're asking for here is a plant nursery, 66,000 square feet of plant material to be displayed. They'll also, we'd like to utilize the existing modular structure that's on the site for the time being. There will also be an outside storage area. That storage area will be screened with an 8-foot block wall per code. We meet parking requirements. We'll have landscape around the perimeter. I think you'll find that most of the opposition to this application from staff comes from the fact that they're considering this a permanent facility. This will not be a permanent facility. I think you'll find in 5 years plus or minus, you'll see a beautiful tower, medical tower in this facility. But we're asking for this use for the time being. What we'll do when we're utilizing this site as a pumpkin patch, we'll move the plant material around the site so that we can operate as a pumpkin patch. Same thing with the Christmas tree lot. I think what we're proposing here actually can only enhance this site for the time being, and we ask for your approval.
Thank you very much. This is noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will turn it over to the commission and go to Commissioner Walsh.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. In looking at it, I've been by it quite a bit in that area. I know that area quite well, and it has put a lot of family-oriented type projects in there, like the pumpkin patch and things like that. And since it's listed as temporary, that's probably why I'm going to approve the project, because it's not going to be like that for 15, 20 years from that. Also, there is some additional staff conditions that I want you to make sure that you understand, and if staff could read those. Should I put it into the motion or have you read it?
Mr. Chairman, through you, I can read them now before you make your motion.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, the conditions shall apply to the SDR, case number 23-0629-SDR1. Condition A will read, there shall be no outside storage permitted on the site beyond that of the 66,000 square feet of area and excess inventory area depicted on the site plan, date stamped January 16th, 2024. Except as may be permitted by means of an approved special event permit. Added condition number 2 reads, all proposed signage, permanent and temporary, shall be in conformance with the approved master sign plan, case number Z-0012-98, parenthetical 3, unless a variance is approved. And the third added condition reads, there shall be no parking of vehicles or trailers on unpaved surfaces except as may be permitted by means of a special event permit. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to go to Commissioner Rogan for some comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair, and through you, and I appreciate Commissioner Walsh, your opinions on this. I can't support the application tonight. I fully agree with staff's analysis of this site. This is a transit-oriented development site. It's a strong corner of Alta and Fort Apache or Rampart that is poised for a greater intensity of development than what you're proposing here. And I also find and agree that it doesn't meet the Las Vegas Renaissance Master Plan as well as our code and master plan. And I also am a bit troubled that even though you're saying this is a temporary use, that you're asking for all these waivers of things like chain link fencing, that I think at the very least you should be removing and providing what's required by code. I respect the fact that maybe you don't have a plan yet for how you're going to permanently use this location for that type of use. I don't think it's harmonious and compatible with the surrounding uses, and for that reason, I can't get behind it tonight.
Yeah, Vice Chair Williams.
Thank you. Through the chair, I'd like to ask the applicant, is there a time period that you're looking at or considering? How long is this temporary request going to last?
I'm John Rubico, 1027 South Rainbow Boulevard, Las Vegas. John Rubico, 1027 South Rainbow Boulevard, Las Vegas, Nevada, the applicant. We believe it was going to go 2 years to our knowledge. Nobody has it written in stone, but it was 2 years understanding with the IHC group.
Thank you.
Thanks. And before I go to Commissioner Walsh, so it's my understanding on 23B, the SDR, that there is an existing chain link fence, but I thought I heard that you were putting a block wall. Is that not the case?
We're putting a block wall around the storage area.
Oh, the storage area.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me personally, I don't have a problem with 23A, the SUP, but I just can't approve an SDR that has that with the chain link fence there. But I can support the use there, so I will go to Commissioner Walsh.
Thank you, Chairman. With that, I'm going to go in then with a motion to approve item number 23-0629 and 23A, 23-0629-SUP1, and 23B, 23629 SDR1, and the additional conditions put into the application.
Point of order then, Mr. Chair, if I could. Considering your comments, I would make a motion to separate 23A and 23B and have them voted separately, if that's...
Would you be amenable to that, Commissioner Walsh?
Yeah, for what's the we're voting on the whole thing anyways, what's the difference?
Well, instead of a blanket motion for all of them, where I've stated I won't be supporting 23B,
okay.
If we were to break them out, you might find support on the use on 23A.
Yeah, as a temporary structure, I mean, or a temporary operation, I don't see anywhere where the master plan would be, because it's not going to be forever once it's done. So that's related to master plan provision. Yes, I guess I can agree to that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it sounds like we're taking 23A as a vote right now?
Correct, 23 and 23A.
So, and you had a motion for approval on that?
Yes.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
So now we vote on 23B.
Please.
The second motion to this application will be 23B, 23-0629-SDR1, and that's on the site development plan.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor.
And that was motion to approve?
Motion to approve, yes.
Thank you.
Chair, just for the record, can I have Seth Floyd comment on what the implications are of approving 23A and disapproving 23B?
Thank you, John. Mr. Chairman, so if you approve the special use permit, what that would do is it would approve a use of a garden supply plant nursery on the site. If you deny the SDR, I suppose he's got a few options, Nicole, if you want to weigh in here. He could either submit a new site development plan review or a revised version of this one, but that would mean he would not be able to develop the site in the way that he's currently got it configured.
Mr. Chairman, that is correct through you. If the SUP is approved and the SDR is denied, they would need to reapply and submit for an SDR for a new site plan. The issue comes in when an application is denied and that is final action, they have to wait an entire year to bring that application back. So they would essentially have an SUP that would sit dormant for a year before they could submit for a new SDR for review by you. So it would be better if your inclination is to deny the SDR, it would probably be better at this point if the applicant withdrew the SDR and came back and presented a new site plan, or they could obey both items and then come back with a new site plan with the special use permit for your review. Thank you.
Gentlemen?
So we'll leave it up to the applicants, I believe, if they wanted to.
Well, we've already approved the first two, so I'm wondering, is there another way that we could deal with the language in B?
Well, so I'm clear, we've approved 23A, which could be rescinded, which in an effort to help the applicant if they had some that wanted to obey and revise. Or if, what I'm hearing is if 23B is denied, it could be another year before the applicant could come back, is what I'm hearing.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, if that is the vote that the commission is anticipating, I would recommend that you rescind the special use permit vote and then either have the applicant obey this item and possibly, work with staff, get some revisions at your guidance at what you're looking to see in the SDR. They could withdraw and then resubmit at a later date. But probably I would recommend that you resend the SUP and at least maybe do an abeyance for them so they can recoup, regather, and reevaluate the site plan that they're bringing before you.
Commissioner Walsh?
I guess the question would be if they can abate or come back to do 23B but approve 23 and 23A, only abating the 1 point, or 23B, is that possible? Can we do that? Then you can come back next month at the next meeting. The first two will be approved. Then the second one, you come back with a site plan, a new site plan to say exactly what it is, and then we would vote on that part as well.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, just for
We'll have to come back
procedural processes, I would really recommend that you rescind the special use permit and obey both items so that then when they come back in a month, that you can vote on them together. And then that way, if they are approved after a month, they have the same expiration date, and it just makes it a lot easier for both staff and the applicant to keep track of their land use entitlements.
Can I refer with counsel for 1 minute? Thank you.
Why don't we trail this one while you guys work it out? We'll call you guys back up here so we can keep the meeting going. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to item number 24, 230631 applicant, the Punk Rock Museum, Inc., owner 1422 Western Avenue, LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project request at 1422 Western Avenue, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Related item 24A, 230631, SUP 1, for a major amendment to an approved special use permit for proposed 11,777 square foot alcohol on-premise full use with a 11,745 square foot outdoor plaza area. Related item 24B, 230631, SUP 2, for proposed open-air vending transient sales lot use. Related item 24C, 230631 SDR1, for a major amendment to approve site development plan review for proposed parking lot reconfiguration to establish an outdoor plaza area. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, during outdoor events, the proposed outdoor plaza area will provide 0 parking spaces. Staff finds that there are not adequate alternative parking in the surrounding area and that the subject site is not physically suitable for the intensity of the of the proposed land uses. Therefore, staff recommends denial of all entitlements. Please note additional letters of support and protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address to the record, please?
Tracy Vaughn, 8461 Gardena Hills Avenue, 89178.
Thank you, Tracy.
Emily Carruthers, 5747 North TP Lane, Las Vegas, 89149.
Thank you, Emily. Anyone else presenting?
Kenneth Williams, 1422 Western Ave.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Hi, and I'm Mel Begonia, the GM. I'm at 1030 Dancing Vines, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89183.
Thank you, Mel. Can you tell us about the application?
Yes. We are here to discuss our request for the special land use permit. Since opening on April 1st, 2023, we have seen over 35,000 people come through our doors. We are proud to be the anchor of tourism in an area of Las Vegas that has since been overlooked. We've hosted international celebrities like the Red Hot Chili Peppers, the B-52s, professional skateboarder Tony Hawk, and comedians Fred Armisen from SNL and Chris Estrada. We've only begun to make our footprint in the Las Vegas entertainment and attractions community. In addition, we are also in the process of establishing a nonprofit, which will allow us even more community involvement and outreach. Several workshops benefiting our marginalized communities are already in the works. Last year, we obtained permits for a couple of outdoor events, which were huge successes. Therefore, we would like to continue to have this space as an ongoing extension of the museum. Our first event, Lost at the Supermarket, took place over When We Were Young weekend. We were visited by upwards of 3,000 people over the course of 3 days. We hosted 4 local food trucks and 17 vendors. We were also given the opportunity to host our first parking lot concert to the front on December 2nd. Several POC bands played to a crowd of over 200 people. We hosted donation drives that benefited local nonprofits, the Shade Tree, and Girls Rock Vegas. On our anniversary of April 1st, we have invited the Las Vegas City Council to be there for the proclamation of official Punk Rock Day in Las Vegas. This is undoubtedly one of the coolest things that we could have ever imagined. We do have a special event permit for our upcoming show on the 31st, on March 31st, and we have arranged for off-site parking for employees and VIPs. On the day, we will encourage rideshare to the museum, as our parking lot has limited spaces to begin with. In the past, during our events, we've had verbal agreements with our neighbors, Little Darlings, to use their lot. However, even when they did allow this, anyone walking down Western Avenue needed to step off the curb around their building as it is built out to the curb. And there also is a break in the sidewalk. Our first concern is the safety of our employees and the guests coming and going from our property. The reality is that some of us do have to walk down the street to park at our warehouse on Oakey. But during the special event permit, with the use of professional barricades and additional security, we feel that it is a safe and concise plan. In addition to that, we will be advertising that we do not have on-site parking since the event is in our parking lot, with the understanding that rideshare is encouraged along with a safe barricaded pickup and drop-off area. We anticipate things would run just as smoothly as they have in the past. We understand that we still need to continue submitting for special event permits, as we will most likely have vendors, but for us to be able to plan fun events during Punk Rock Bowling or When We Were Young is very much a part of our livelihood. The busiest weekend to date was during When We Were Young, where we hosted visitors from all over the world. There is nothing like what we were doing in Vegas, or anywhere really. As I've mentioned, we are the anchor for new and improved business in the design district. Although we have little or no parking, it doesn't stop people from coming. With the bulk of our business coming from tourists, rideshare is often the preferred method of transportation for those who solicit our business. The lack of parking shouldn't be a reason for us to refrain from having successful and safe events outside. The punk rock community roots run deep here in Las Vegas, and the Punk Rock Museum is proud that we have found a home here. We have been welcomed and supported and are grateful to the city for embracing us. We want to continue to provide the best experiences, and with the use of our lot, we can continue to do so. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the nice presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission for discussion. Commissioner Slotman?
Yes, Chair Cherry. Thank you. How often do you think you'll have events out here where the entire parking lot will be shut down?
We usually do them during those big fests. So last year we only had 2. They wouldn't happen very often, maybe once every couple months, if that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the area now and then, and I need to come by and see the place.
Come on by.
Yeah, I've been down here long enough, and I don't know why I hadn't been there yet, but I see what you're doing, and you know we've had other similar type facilities like this. There's one further down Western, maybe it's up on Highland. It's an event center, and we allowed them to do a similar or to have a similar platform where they could shut down their parking lot to have outdoor events. And I've passed by it. On those particular days, it could put a little bit of traffic out onto the street and on the park lanes and things like that. But they figured it out. We're in Vegas, and I feel that there's not an abundance of parking anywhere downtown, and we figure it out. So I don't really have that big of an issue. Is that a park lane that's going in front of your property, or it looks a little bit narrow? Maybe through the chair, I could ask Mr. Bolanos if he knows. Is that a park lane that is that just a bike lane?
Is there a map we can look at? I can tell you.
Through the chair.
Yes.
That is a bike lane. That's why we do have some conditions that do require them to submit for a barricading permit to show how it would be closing like the bike lane during that time to bring the pedestrians around. There's that building to the south, and they had explained to us that they had permission to get around the building through the back, so they wouldn't be coming around, because I think there's only about 3 feet between the building actually and the back curb. That's been there for a long time. Until that comes in, they really can't address that one, because it does belong to the property to the north, not theirs. Excuse me. So we've also asked for to see their pedestrian circulation plan, see if we might need to have some flashers or something to get them across from the parking lots that they're using across the street.
Okay, and so whenever they have an event, y'all would require a barricade plan or something to allow people to park along one side of the street?
Right. Well, I'm not sure we're going to allow the parking along the street, but they will have to submit for the barricading plan, and that our issue specifically is to provide the pedestrian passage through there and what they're going to be using.
Okay.
But not as far as the parking, we really don't want to be addressing it. We will most likely not allow parking on the street that might hinder the pedestrian traffic that they'd have to use.
And if we see this becoming a huge issue in the future, this is something that could be called back to Planning Commission, because this is, a special use permit. Yes, this is a special use permit, so we would be able to call this back before the Planning Commission to reevaluate if staff feels that it needs to be reevaluated at any point in the future. Is that correct?
Well, that is correct. It's a special use, so it kind of limits, what Public Works can actually ask for any off-site improvements. If you call it back and you ask for it to become a site development review, then at that point we can look at sidewalks that are needed or moving back fences and all But being that it is a special use, the nexus we had was that we do have concerns with the pedestrian circulation, so we did place conditions for the requirement of the barricading plans.
Okay, thank you. I think one of the main things that's different with this application than a lot of other applications that we see is, when we grant these approvals, for me, whenever I'm looking at somebody that's going to spend millions of dollars adding buildings and adding improvements, it's kind of hard to, grant those approvals and then take them back. This is basically granting approvals for your outdoor parking lot for areas that you're already using. And so, and I think you have been doing this for the past few years with the special event permit, and you are looking to do this a little bit easier with the correct entitlements. I think it can work, and I think we do have a mechanism to pull this back if we do see that there's an issue. I don't foresee there being any issue. I think through your pedestrian study and working with Public Works and looking and seeing how these events are working out and seeing how you need to adapt them in the future with every event that comes up and just trying to improve on that. And you may have to talk to the Little Darling people or whoever those people are in the south parking lot to see if you can get more parking spaces. Little Darlings is right next door to the south. That's why I'm...
There's also a lot across the street that we're trying to figure out if we can also rent that parking.
Sure. And hopefully, in this day and age, most people are being a little bit more responsible with taking ride share if they're going to events and drinking and things of this sort. So I don't have a problem with this.
Commissioner Rogan?
Yeah, I just have a few questions for you, if you don't mind. I think I can generally get behind the project. I'm not concerned about the parking. I like the idea of you having food trucks and an outdoor bar when you need it. But my one concern is noise. In your justification letter, you talk about your hours of operation. Currently, the museum's 12 to 8. The bar is open till 2. Mm-hmm. And then you say, we're seeking a permit that allows us to have a 24-hour time frame in case we have an after-party impromptu band or gathering after closing hours. Does this mean that you're planning on having punk rock bands playing at 2 o'clock in the morning?
No, we do have a show on March 31st. It ends at 10 p.m.
Okay.
So
but specifically outdoors. I mean, indoors, that's one thing. It's the outdoors that I'm concerned about. So staff, if we approve any of this tonight, does this allow them to play music at all hours of the day, either through a DJ or live band?
Not necessarily. They will have to still comply with the noise ordinance. So what we're approving is we'll allow them to serve alcohol outside of the building, and then the site review establishes the outdoor entertainment area. But they do still have to comply with noise ordinances.
Are there restrictions on the time that DJs or live bands need to stop playing? Is it like strictly at 11 o'clock or 10 o'clock, or is this just based upon, what is it, adjusted decibel meters that you have to run around town and see if it's non-compliant?
Mr. Chairman, through you, I might need to refer to our city attorney on the noise ordinance.
I'm sorry if we're unprepared for this.
I
From what I
somewhat
heard,
am
it was
unprepared
50
to answer a
feet.
noise
Sorry.
ordinance question, but I can research it quickly if you want to give me the specific question.
Well, I guess the specific question is if there's a time frame on outdoor bands playing at a location like this. Does it end at a specific time, like at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock?
I believe the noise ordinance is in effect in this area. I know some areas around Fremont East are exempted from the noise ordinance, and I can quickly check on the time for you.
Okay, thank you very much. And my only concern is, I know you're right up against the highway, but there's the Scotch 80s that's just on the other side of that. There's Glen Heather that's just at the vicinity of it, and I can tell you, I don't live far from there, and we can hear the Las Vegas Festival grounds, and granted, that is a larger property, more bands, more people, but sometimes when World Market is doing some smaller events, we still hear that. And so adding to that, cacophony with the Red Hot Chili Peppers at 2 o'clock in the morning is something that I'd be very concerned about. So if you could just bear with me while we figure this out.
Fair, yeah. From what we heard, it was you can't hear it from 50 feet. That was the ordinance. And it's never, it's never going to be at 2 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, we did plan for our show to be during the day with a hard stop at 10. There might be parties or events at night, but those aren't going to be like huge DJ events. Usually it's just an outside bar with the speakers that we already have on our patio, on our bar outside patio.
Okay, thank you. And maybe what we could do is we could just move this along. Is this final action tonight, Mr. Floyd? Before you. Okay. Is it final action? If approved, it's final action. Okay.
And if I could just add something, the majority of everything we do, it's 12,000 square feet, so it's a lot inside the museum. Like at Fremont Street on Saturday night, the Offspring announced that they're going to do a takeover at our museum and they're going to do acoustic set inside. So these events, like I said, and Mel said, they're probably going to be maybe a few a year. We can't afford to put them on every weekend, but and we are in a complete industrial area, so yeah, none of us want to. Our bar is open till 2. Our museum actually closes at 8, so we try to do the events during the day. And in the past, we did have an agreement with Little Darlings, but even though they're closed on Sunday and our events on a Sunday, they will not let us use their parking lot. So we're just trying to figure this out ourselves and have an alternative to.
I have a quick question for Public Works. The building to the south that looks like it comes out to
the curb,
what would cover up, I guess, a sidewalk and make a kind of complete street. Is that subject to that dedication that other parcels in downtown had to do?
The building's been there for a while. We really don't have too much of a history when it was constructed and how the roadway got built on there. So since it's not part of the application, we really couldn't push too much. But we do have concerns with it. And if that site ever does come in, then we will address it and we will look to see why the setback is so close or how it got constructed.
Yeah, I guess I bring it up, Victor, is because on Casino Center on the new improvement, on both sides of the street, I watched them just chop a side of the house, chop a fence and a driveway on the other side, all to get back to that dedication that was done, and then a public sidewalk could be put in complete. Maybe you could chop this building down.
Well, we can take a look at it when it comes before us, and of course, we would be looking at the setbacks and working with building and safety.
Legally, of course. I'm not.
That's correct.
Yeah. Well, I think, Council.
Yeah, it looks like 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. would be the quiet hours.
Okay, thank you for that. 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. are the quiet hours.
Okay, I'm good with that. Thank you for your patience. I'm so sorry.
No.
And thank you, Mr. Radilla, for that quick research. I can support
Slavin?
this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Chair?
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
Fred Solis for the record. We have a couple of fire conditions we need to add before the motion's made. So the first one is the applicant shall submit a fire protection report for approval to fire engineering. This report shall include but not be limited to emergency lighting, building and site egress while an event is going on, including building occupant load as plaza load, proposed site layouts, fire department access, etc. Condition number 2 would be prior to fire protection report submittal, the applicant and the fire protection engineer shall meet with the Las Vegas Fire and Rescue to discuss specific report inclusions. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those conditions, and the applicant agrees to those?
Yes.
Yes. Commissioner Slavin?
Yes, Chairman. On item number 2423-0631, I move to approve, subject to staff's conditions.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes.
And that's 24A through C.
Blanket motion. Thank you. Do I see? Okay, and that motion carries.
And that is final action tonight, unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We were trailing item 23. Did we get a resolution on 23? I don't see Commissioner Walsh. He's in the back? Okay, I'm going to go to 25 and then back to 23 when Commissioner Walsh is here. Item number 230645, applicant owner, Downtown Sanchez, LLC, for possible action on the following land use entitlement project request at 623 South 4th Street, 25A 6230645 SUP1, proposed 1,235 square foot alcohol on premise, full use with a 4,980 square foot outdoor patio area, and 25B 230645 SUP2 for proposed open air vending transient sales lot use. Before I get the staff report, I will disclose I have property within the notification area. It doesn't affect me any greater or lesser. I will be voting on the application tonight. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the requested special use permits adhere to all minimum Title 19 requirements and with the Vision 2045 Downtown Las Vegas Master Plan. Staff finds the proposed uses are compatible with the existing development in the surrounding area and therefore recommends approval of both requests. Please note additional letters of support and protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Name and address, please.
Good evening, Jennifer Lazovich, 1980 Festival Plaza Drive, here tonight on behalf of the applicant. The site is located at 4th and Garces. We appreciate staff recommending approval. If you saw on the earlier pictures, this is an existing structure that's there today. It's our plan to basically turn the structure and keep the structure, and keep some of the integrity of the structure in terms of what it looks like, but do a new facade and then of course remodel the entire inside. And then plus we would be adding an outside patio area that looks like this. This is the alley. Here's 4th Street with the main entrance coming off of here. The mobile food vending truck would be in this location. It wouldn't be there permanently. It would be there as we brought in the food truck from time to time for like special food for whatever nights we had going on here. The inside would have like a sit-down bar, tables, also restrooms, knowing that's important. So there would be stuff that we would, I'll say bricks and mortar to support the mobile food vending truck that would come here and be on site. We appreciate staff recommending approval. There's a couple things though that I do want to put on the record. We've been having a very nice conversation with our neighbors who own the office building immediately to the south of us. They had a couple of direct things that we are talking to them about. One or two I think is easy to solve, and the other one I think we need a little bit more time to see if we can come up with a solution. One of the things was our trash enclosure is going to go back here. It is going to be within a trash enclosure, and then on the inside will be the compact or the dumpster. And so one of the concerns, because we'll have food here, is the idea that homeless might be able to get either into the enclosure or get into the dumpster and just do things that would make it look not so clean and neat over there. So one of the things that we talked about doing, because this property owner has other property downtown and they have already worked with Republic Services to do on the trash enclosure itself locked, and Republic gives us that lock. And then also on the dumpster itself, you can do locking dumpsters. Again, you have to get it directly through Republic. We can't do it on our own. Of course, we'd be happy to do that. In addition to that, and maybe just as equally, if not a little bit more, but is their lot right here is for their tenants. And all of the spaces are assigned for the tenants inside the building, and it's an open lot. It doesn't have a fence around it. There is a block wall here that separates us, but there's nothing here or here. And so what they're concerned about is people for our establishment might park in their lot. And so one of the things that we've talked about is that we are making sure that our site is secured. And part of what we're doing is we will have a gate, or a fence, I should say, a fence with part of a gate that goes along here, because this is the back of our property. So we will want to keep that, fenced and secured at night when this is closed. But part of that is to also encourage people to, go walk all the way around and go in our front door, which is off of 4th Street. That said, I think that over the next, 30 days or so, we'll be able to sit down with our adjacent neighbors and talk to them a little bit more to see if there's something we can do to help ease their concerns on the parking. It's my understanding Seth just wandered away, but it's my understanding that this item is going to go to City Council, or if it's not going to City Council, I would ask that it go to City Council on March 20th so that we can have some additional time to work with our neighbors and resolve the parking issue if we can.
Thank you for the presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard in this item? Please come up. There's a microphone. I need your name and address for the record, please. Thank you.
Is it on? Have you already or off?
If you pull it towards you, it'll...
Oh, okay. Yeah, I live Sean Hills. I'm at 353 East Bonneville. So I would be 3 traffic lanes from this place. And so our concern is obviously the noise. Most of this is outside, and people will be loud, there'll be music. Rick's Barbecue, love that, but they had karaoke on Thursday nights, kept us awake until they shut it off, and that's on the boulevard. So this is so close. There's 344 units in Jewel. At least 100 of them, that's our busiest side, face them. And so I don't know how many feet from our windows there are. It's super close. And we talked about the noise of the last one where Scotch 80, well, we're so much closer than that. And so that's my concern, if we can clear that up.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much for your comments. Anyone else like to be heard? Get your name and address for the record, please.
It's Anthony Chula, 9324 Provence Garden, and I am with the office building to the south, and I appreciate Jennifer's representations, and our main concern is the parking or lack thereof and how that affects our building, but we're going to try to work together over the next 30 days, and that this will then be hopefully resolved before it goes to council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else like to be heard in this item? Okay, if I could have the applicant come back up. I will say I did hear this will be going to City Council, so you will have that time, but if you want to speak to the noise comment?
Yes, Jennifer Lazovich again for the record. So as it relates to the noise, we appreciate the comment from the neighbors at Jewel. And as we just heard on the last item, we're not in an area where the noise ordinance doesn't apply. So said another way, the noise ordinance will apply. And if we did have any live music on the outside in our patio, which sits behind our building, but nonetheless, I understand the point that he's making. It has to be their quiet hours from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. at the latest. So in other words, live music would go at the latest till 11 p.m. It could even go stop sooner than that, but it has to be off by 11 p.m.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will go to the commission. Commissioner Schlotman.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I've walked this building many a times in the past. It must have been 6-8 years ago the last time that I walked it, and 10-12 years ago the time before that, and this building has seen no movement, and basically it's just crumbling, and something needs to go in there to keep this building from just being run over by trash and vagrants and everything else. I do understand the neighbors' concern with noise and also with the parking. I'm sure that there could be no parking signs or something established in this parking lot, and anyone that parks there can be towed. That's typically what we do. If there's a bigger issue than that, I'm sure you could work that out with your neighbor before City Council. You've worked out a lot of issues with other residents and neighbors in the past, and so and this isn't the Fremont East or the Arts District or anything where they could just play music as loud as they want anytime they want. So anyways, so for those reasons, I would be able to get behind this, and if there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair.
Please do.
So on item number 25, 23-0645, 25A and B. I would move to approve, subject to staff's conditions, and you agree to all staff's conditions, Ms. Lasevich?
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
And that motion carries.
And that item will move on to City Council on March 20th.
Thank you.
And one question for staff, if someone wanted to ever make a noise complaint, is it through the City of Las Vegas website to, they just do a code or a enforcement request?
Typically, Mr. Chairman, through you, typically at those hours of night, it's through the Metro Police Department that they make the complaint.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to item, we're going to go back to, 23. Thank you, Commissioner. Item 23 that was previously read into the record. Could I just get your name and address again for the record?
Again, Commissioners, Dave Turner with Hoffman and Turner, 1210 Hinson Street, representing the applicant.
Thank you very much. Commissioner Walsh, did we find a direction with the applicant?
Yes, I did, after looking at some of the other aspects of the code. So what I'm going to do, I'm in full support of the way the language reads right now, so I'd like to entertain a motion to approve 23B as written in support of this application.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion does not carry.
Mr. Chair,
Commissioner Rogan?
I believe we need to make a motion to deny item 23B, and I'll make that motion.
Okay. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And Mr. Chair, we did vote on 23A and 23B separately. 23A is final action unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days, as is 23B.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Moving on to item number 26. 230648 VAR1, applicant owner Brian Bajarona for possible action on a land use entitlement project to allow 0-foot separation from the primary dwelling where 6 feet is required for an existing residential accessory structure, casita, and a total accessory structure size of 70% of the primary dwelling floor area, where 50% is the maximum allowed at 1200 Coldstream Drive, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, this variance request is a result of an open code enforcement case. The existing casita was constructed without building permits and fails to comply with minimum Title 19 requirements. Staff finds the variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and therefore recommends denial. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Yes, good evening. My name is Brian Barahona, and I live on this property, 1200 Coldstream Drive. And the reason being I'm here tonight is because I want to express the reason why I am building a room behind my house. The use for which I am making it is for family gatherings, just your typical everyday gathering, because my house is too small, and I wish to see if this could be made for just space. Just that's all it is, just for space, for for like cookouts and all that, and then we could just place tables for the family. We have a large family, so we need this space for the usage for family gatherings. That's why it's listed on the what's it called, the plot, what is it? It's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, just the space, just the permits. Yeah, the space, the actual.
Okay. Okay. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard in this item? Seeing no one, I'll close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission with Commissioner Schlotman.
Yes, Mr. Chair, through you. This is typical of some of the other applications we've seen in my ward. and we have to evaluate these and say, are they harmonious and compatible with the neighborhood? If you look at every house on this entire block, which is probably about 20 of them, all but one of them has an addition or storage shed or accessory structure built up to it, including the ones touching his house. So for those reasons, I could support this item.
Okay, Commissioner Walsh, did you have a comment? I see your light on.
No, I'm sorry.
No problem. Okay, Commissioner Slotman.
Yes, through you, Chair, on item 2623-0648 VAR1, I move to approve, subject to staff's conditions, and you agree with all staff's conditions?
Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
thanks. It's just, I can't hear you, sorry.
Okay.
He's nervous.
No, it's just I can't hear it. Like,
Okay.
You agree with the staff
Yes, sir.
conditions?
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely, 100%.
great. Thank you. Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. That motion carries.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
And that is final action tonight, and let's appeal to city clerk in 10 days.
All right, thank you.
Thanks,
Have a good
gentlemen.
night, you guys. God bless you guys.
Same to you. Moving on to item 20, no, 27 was obeyed, excuse me. Item number 28. 230657 VAR1, applicant Henry Gutierrez Sosa, owner Ackley, I didn't pronounce that properly. Naples? Double Naples. For possible action on land use entitlement project request to allow 0-foot separation from the principal dwelling unit where 6 feet is required, and to not be aesthetically compatible with the principal dwelling unit where such is required for an existing residential accessory structure, casita at 6529 Orchid Hill Circle, Ward 1. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, this variance request is the result of an open code enforcement case. The existing casita was constructed without building permits and fails to comply with Title 19 development standards. Staff finds the variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and therefore recommends denial. Please note additional letters of protest were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address for the record? And my apologies if I messed up the name earlier.
Good evening. My name is Henry Gutierrez. I'm the homeowner's representative, and the address is 6529 Orchid Hill Circle.
Thank you.
Good night. My name is Acelis Napoles, 6529 Orchid Hill Circle.
Thank you very much. Can you tell us about the application, please?
Ms. Napoles is seeking a permit and legal status of the casita and room addition that she built behind her property. And the reason for the addition was to receive her mother from her native country of Cuba. Her mother is elderly and she needs special care and attention, and she needed a place where she could reside and have privacy and more comfort. So that was the reason for the construction of the room addition, which became the main kitchen of the house. The original kitchen of the house was removed and is now just a wet bar.
Thank you very much. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone from the public like to be heard on this item? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing and turn it over to the commission and Commissioner Rogan.
Thank you. Do you have any pictures of the addition?
Unfortunately, I don't have any printed pictures. I can pull them up on my phone. I have them in a folder.
You know what? I would like to have the opportunity to actually go out and see the property. My concern, just to be transparent, is that it is significantly different than the home itself. And I don't think that as we heard on the last item, what we look for is compatibility, and it's not compatible. So I just want to check it out myself. And so if you don't mind, if we could continue this for 30 days so I can come out and see it.
Yeah, understood. Some of the materials that are different are the exterior finishes, where wood siding is used rather than stucco, which is what's on the main residence. The casita itself has shingled roofing, and the room addition has metal roofing and wood siding as well instead of stucco. So I understand pushing it 30 days out.
Thank you. I'll make a motion to obey this item 28, project number 23-0657 657 VAR1 to the March 12th Planning Commission date.
Thank you, Commissioners. A motion on the floor to obey, please. Cast your votes. And that motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to item number 29, 230660 VAR applicant owner Adon Castillo for possible action on a land use entitlement project to allow the total floor area to be 75% of the primary dwelling floor area, where 50% is the maximum allowed for proposed residential accessory structure at 2112 Poplar Avenue, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Mr. Chairman, the proposed casita exceeds Title 19 maximum floor area requirements. Staff finds the variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and therefore recommends denial. For the record, staff notes that the applicant owner for this project is Beatrice Acosta. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can I get your name and address for the record, please?
Oscar Martinez, 6493 Adeline Court, Las Vegas, Nevada, 89110. The purpose of this request is that the house is pretty much an apartment. It's a two-bedroom, one bath house. It was built, I believe, in 1947, and has a high rent and high property prices now. The family is growing, and they would like to make this addition to the backyard, and this addition will meet setbacks and all codes required.
Okay, thank you, Oscar. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will go to Commissioner Schlottman.
Thank you, Chairman. Do you currently have a accessory structure out there now?
Yes, it's a temporary, it's like a shed that will be taken down in order to build this addition.
Okay, that's great. I appreciate you coming in and asking for permission before building this and meeting all the setbacks, and looking at all the neighbors, you'll be you'll have one of the nicest places there. So
thank you.
And with the size of the house, I see why you're wanting to build and add a little bit more square footage. So you'll get my support.
Thank you. Would you like to make a motion, Commissioner?
Yes, sir. So on item number 29, which is 23-0660 VAR1, I would move to approve subject to staff's conditions. And you agree to staff's conditions?
I agree.
Thank you.
Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And that is final action tonight unless appealed to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay.
You all have a good night.
You too. Thank you. Item 31, 240023 VAR applicant Hartlauer Signs, owner Goodhood LLC, for possible action on land use entitlement project request to allow a 2-foot setback where 5 feet is required for 2 previously approved monument signs at 201 South Las Vegas Boulevard, Ward 3. Staff recommends denial. Can we get the staff report, please?
Good evening. My name is Scott McIntosh.
Scott, if I could hold you one second.
It's okay. Through you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chairman, the proposed signage fails to comply with Title 19 setback requirements. Staff finds the variance request to be a self-imposed hardship and therefore recommends denial. Please note additional letters of support were received since publication. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Name and address, please. Yep.
Hello. My name is Scott McIntosh, 3900 West Dewey, Las Vegas, 89118, representing the applicant. We were here once before getting a variance, which was approved. However, once we started excavating for the footings for these signs, there's an existing footer for the patio, which is part of the building we can't get into. So we reduced the sign by 50% in hopes to get the footprint of the footing smaller. We're still about 20 inches short. I know that the application reads 2 feet. It's actually 32 inches setback. Not that that makes much of a difference, but we're looking for a 20-inch less setback than what we were here before on. But the sign has been reduced by 50% in size. Trying to accommodate it, we just can't get it engineered any other way.
Thank you for the presentation. This is notice of public hearing. Anyone like to be heard? Seeing no one, I'll turn it over to the commission. Commissioner Schlotman.
Yes, Chair, through you. I don't have a problem with the sign and with this particular request, so if there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion.
Please do.
Yes, on item 31, 24-0023 VAR1, move to approve, subject to staff's conditions, and you agree to all staff's conditions?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, there's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes.
Thank you, Commissioners.
And that item is final action. Let's appeal to the city clerk in 10 days.
Thank you. Moving on to director's business, item number 32, 24-0014 TXT1, applicant owner, City of Las Vegas, for possible action on a request to amend LVMC 1906, 1909, 1912, and 1918 regarding tiny houses, LVMC 1917 regarding height bonus, and to provide for other related matters. Staff recommends approval. Can we get the staff report, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The proposed amendment will bring Title 19 into conformance with changes made to the Nevada revised statutes in 2021 by Senate Bill 150 and in 2023 by Senate Bill 40 in regard to tiny homes. While the city already allows tiny homes in various situations, they are not specifically addressed in Title 19. This amendment will bring Title 19 into conformance with NRS through the following. Establish the tiny home definition and land use within Title 19. Identify zoning districts where tiny homes are permitted. If qualifying for treatment as a single-family residence per NRS, tiny homes will be allowed in most single-family residential districts. Establishes 400 square feet as the minimum threshold for tiny homes qualifying as a single-family residence. Allows tiny homes as an accessory dwelling unit or an accessory structure per Title 19 standards. And finally, creates a tiny home park use, definition, and associated development standards. In addition to the tiny home language, there's also a separate housekeeping component to add T4 maker and T5 neighborhood transects to the districts that may qualify for an affordable housing bonus per Title 1917. These were inadvertently omitted through the initial drafting of the incentive code language in 2023. Thank you.
Thanks, Fred, for the presentation. This was noticed as a public hearing. Anyone like to be heard? Seeing no one, I will turn it over to the commission. I will say this is kind of aligning everything up. It makes great sense to me through the briefing I had in the backup. Commissioner Kasama, would you like to make a motion? I don't think you had an item tonight. I want to see the light go on. There we go.
Sure, I'm happy to make a motion to approve. With that, I'd make a motion to approve item 3224-0014 TXT1, subject to the staff condition.
Thank you. There's a motion on the floor. Please cast your votes. And that motion carries.
And that item will move on to City Council in ordinance form on March 20th.
Okay, and item number 33, citizens' participation. Public comment during this portion of the agenda must be limited to matters within the jurisdiction of the Planning Commission. No subject may be acted upon by the Planning Commission unless that subject is on the agenda and scheduled for action. If you wish to be heard, come to the podium and give your name for the record. The amount of discussion of any single subject, as well as the amount of time and any single speaker is allowed, may be limited. Seeing no one, I see a light on. Commissioner Schlotman.
Victor, was that a motion to me that it's okay for me to? I think Victor's been with us for 28 years, and at the beginning of the meeting he said it was going to be quiet, but anyways, just wanted to say congratulations for 28 strong years here at the city. I remember working with Victor all the way back in 2005 when I was, 20, in my 20s, we'll go there. And I tell you what, one staff member who has always stood out to me as being helpful with anything dealing with public works and trying to find a solution, and always offering his advice and ways to make the code work for different challenging projects, and all your years of being up here helping us, advising us on the Planning Commission, everything else. Thank you for your years of service, and we're going to miss you. And I still owe you that piece of yellowfin tuna, so come by my office and I'll give it to you. Thank you.
Oh, very cool. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Thank you, Victor.
Thank you.
And with that, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you.